Lapre, I'm glad that you got the Making Money package, and I know you're excited, and I want to tell you, people ask me, is everything you say on TV really true? Let me tell you, I really filed bankruptcy. I really never graduated from high school. I painted houses for a living. The economy really got bad. I had to file bankruptcy. I started over in a one-bedroom apartment. I bought and I sold, and I placed ads, and let me tell you, I got in the 900 business, and it just exploded. Every single thing that I tell you is exactly the way it is. So I hope you get excited. Either learn how to buy and sell, place ads, or get your own 900 business going. And this video kind of tells you 11 secrets of success that I've put together that I think you can't fail if you just master these 11 secrets. And then I tell you what I'm working on, and I tell you about my brand new project that I'm working on that you can actually come to work for me, and together we can make a ton of money. So enjoy the video. I'm Don Lapre. Sit back and get ready to be excited. When I was in school, ever since I was a little kid, I would get a joy out of making money by turning it into a game. And when I was just a little kid, when I was in the 5th grade, I would actually go to the store. It was called Super X Drugs in the middle of the afternoon after I got off of school, and I would find bargains on bags of candy. And at one time they had a sale on bubble yum. So I would buy bags of bubble yum for $1.19, and then I would go to school and I would sell it by the piece for a quarter. And when you're in school and you're in your 7th hour class and there's nothing to do and a guy offers you a piece of gum for 25 cents, that's a big thing when you're in the 7th grade. So I would make $6 a day going to school. So as I graduated, I went to high school. I would work 40 hours a week at a department store while I went to high school, because I wanted to make money and my parents didn't have a lot of money. So I would go to school, and my last year, I took the minimum number of classes. This has to do with me not graduating. I took the minimum number of classes that I needed to graduate. Well, my last year, I took a mathematics class, which was called trigonometry and calculus. And my teacher and I did not get along very well at all. So she said to me, Don, do you realize if you don't pass this last semester, you're not going to graduate? Well, we didn't like each other at all. So we got into an argument, and that teacher failed me. So I was 1/2 a semester away from graduating from high school. So little did I know I could use that later on in a unique story, which was on the Making Money show, of a guy who made a lot of money and never graduated from high school. So that is the big story. But I think when you're in school, you need to learn everything there is to learn. But I'm going to tell you later on about something in school that they don't teach you that's absolutely critical. As soon as I got out of high school, I went to work for Gemco department stores. And at the age of 18, they promoted me to being a manager. So I flew down to Bakersfield, and I helped them open up a brand new store. And at that time, at 18 years old, being promoted to a manager, I was flying high. But I learned when I was working for Gemco that I had all these ideas, and I wanted to be bigger and better than I was, but they kept telling me, slow down, that I can only do so much. So I learned that the only way I'm going to make a whole lot of money is if I start my own business. That's the only way you can make a lot of money out there. And I calculated out how long it would take me to become a big person with Gemco department stores. And I also noticed that some of the people that worked at Gemco were actually people that used to work at FedMart and some of the other national chains that went out of business. And I said, do I want to be 40 years old, work my way to the top in a company, and then have that company go out of business and me have to start all over at the age of 40 or 50 years old for another company? So I said right then, I said, I have got to go back to school, or I've got to go back to Arizona where I live, and I've got to start my own business. So as soon as I realized this, I quit my job. I went back to Arizona. I still worked for Gemco out there, but I worked in a different department. And I tried to start my own business. And I tried buying and selling, and that was working really well. In fact, when I first started, I bought 3 desks for $250, like $70 a piece, $210. I turned around, I sold 1 desk for $150, 1 for $180, and 1 for $225. And I did it within like a week. And I said, my God, here I am going to work at this department store, And for the time I'm working 40 hours a week, part-time, I was making more money buying and selling, and I was having fun doing it. So here I was buying and selling, and my dad called me up. He was a painter, and he said, would you like to come to work for me for 2 weeks and paint? And I said, sure. And he said, I'll pay you real good. And I went to work for my dad for 2 weeks painting houses. And then I realized, wow, I could start my own painting business. So that's exactly what I did. Not knowing anything, I placed a few ads in the paper. I got my first paint job. I went down there and I gave the guy an estimate. And the only way I could estimate it is by looking at it and saying, how long would this take me to do? And I calculated 2 days to do it. Then I went down to Dunn Edwards painting store, and I said, I've got this job, and I told them what it was. I had no idea how to get it done, and they walked me right through it, and I did the job, and in one weekend, I made $550 cash. And I said, my God, starting your own business is the way to do it. So I continued painting houses for about 4 years. I made really good money for a long time. I bought a house, and then the economy went bad. And the lower I charged for a paint job, the worse it got. It's like I couldn't give my work away and get a job. And I got to the point where I was actually down to peanut butter and bread in my kitchen. I sold everything that I had in my house, and the economy got worse and worse and worse, and I was forced to file bankruptcy. I moved out of my three-bedroom house, and I was so proud because I had finally built my credit up to the top, and I was doing great. And I had to move back into a one-bedroom apartment and start all over. And my mom called me up and she said, my God, you're not going to go commit suicide or anything like that. And I said to her, I said, no. I said, I'm at the lowest low I could ever be. If I can make it back in 6 months, I never have to worry about failing again because it really wasn't that bad. So I moved into a one-bedroom apartment. Just a few weeks after that, I met a girl named Sally. And in 2 weeks, I met her at a nightclub. 2 weeks later, it was like our third date, we drove down to Las Vegas, and we got married. And after we had been married for 2 weeks, I sat her down. Now, remember, I only met her for 2 weeks. She didn't even know who I was. All she knew is I painted houses for a living. I sat her down. I had to tell her we had to file bankruptcy. And she almost died. She said, oh, my God, I haven't even had a chance to get good credit. So we filed bankruptcy, and then from there on, I continued painting houses, and I decided to start placing ads in the paper. Well, I found a little manual that teaches people how to find loans, how to find people that are due refunds from FHA mortgages. So I wrote a little manual on it, and I placed a few ads in the Arizona Republic. At first, I handed out flyers on cars, and that did real well, and I couldn't believe it because I didn't think it would work. Then I placed an ad in the paper, and that did well. And from my one-bedroom apartment, I started making $1,000 a day or more. I was bringing in $1,000 a day in sales from this one-bedroom apartment, selling these little manuals that only cost me maybe $1 to print up. And then I would talk to the people over the phone, and I would show them. Well, I did that for a while, and then about a year and a half later, it dawned on me. I said, oh, my God. I only had my ad in 2 newspapers around the country, right? I had it in the USA Today, and I had it in Arizona Republic. And I said, I could have put my ad in like 1,500 other newspapers. I could have been making a killing, but I thought I made it to the top. I was making $1,000 a day. I thought I was a rich, rich man. So that's when I said, okay, if I come up with another ad that really works good, I'm going to make up for my stupidity. I'm going to put my ad in every newspaper I could find. Well, right then, I met a guy named Bob Salerno who worked for a 900 service bureau. And here I am working out of my one-bedroom apartment. He calls me up and he says, Don, get a 900 line. And you've heard it all before about him trying to talk me into it. I finally got one line. It worked so well. It was a 1-900 date line that I brought up. And it said, meet singles in your area and meet singles nationwide. Call 1-900. He helped me bring up the 900 line because I didn't know which one to bring up. There were thousands of different types of lines. And it worked so well, I said, I'm going to make up for my mistake. So I went and I searched for every newspaper I could find in the entire country. And I placed the same ad. Then I tried different ones. And I had ads in every newspaper that worked in the country. And out of about 3,000 newspapers, I was able to get my ads in about 1,800 of them. And I kept my ads running. I sold our little bed that we had, and I put desks in my apartment, and we had 6 people and me, and that's all we did. We sat around, we kept renewing our ads and kept sending out the checks. I bought a little fax machine to have the tier sheets, which are the sheets that the newspapers send over. And that's all I did for about a year, year and a half. When it finally dawned on me, I said, wait a minute, I've bought and I sold. I've placed ads. I've gotten into the 900 business. I could teach a lot of people out there how to get their own business going. And that's when I decided to do the television show, Making Money, to show people how to get their own business started. You guys, people come into my office and I'm walking down the street and somebody that knows me will come up, and every once in a while they'll say, Don, what is the secret to making a lot of money? And so I put together 11 things that I think are the 11 secrets to being successful. And I'm going to go over each one of them, and each one of them has a little story behind it. But I want you to listen. If you master these 11 secrets to success, there is no way in the whole world you can fail. The number one, first thing is attitude. You have got to wake up every day. You've got to go to sleep every day. You've got to go to work every day. You've got to do everything that you do with the right attitude. You wake up late, big deal. You woke up late. You've got to have a good attitude about it. You have to go to work one day, and let's say it's on a Saturday. You've got to get a good attitude about it. Attitude is 99.9% of what it takes to be successful. Everything is so much easier. If your attitude is good, everything is a lot easier to take care of for the day. I don't care what it is, but if you're around people that have a negative attitude, right, all they can do is bring you down. That's the only thing that can happen. If you come into work, you have a great attitude, all of a sudden you get a bigger promotion, you're well-liked, people like you more, you're attracted by more people. If you learn to control your attitude every day and make sure that every day you walk in, you go, okay, today's Tuesday, I've got to have a good attitude. You keep your attitude in line, you can't help but go up and up and up. Your next thing is health. I've seen so many rich people that are physically out of shape. They're physically, they have ailments all over the place, and they're not doing well. I know a guy who has a printing company, and he is just doing great. His printing company's doing great, but he's the most unhealthy guy I've ever met in my life. If you have got to have a balance between your business and whatever you're working on, and you've got to set aside an hour or two a day to concentrate on your health. Your health is priority. You couldn't give me all the money in the world to take away my health. My health is priority. The way I look at it is if you have your health, you're worth $1 billion right there. Everything else is just whatever it is on paper. It doesn't really matter. Next thing is stop listening to anybody. I don't care if it's your wife. I don't care if it's your sister. I don't care if it's your brother. I don't care if it's your parents, your best friend. If they are negative in your life, if they pull you down after you talk to them, you have an idea, you're excited about it, you share it with, first thing you do, instead of doing it, you go right to them, you kind of tell them about it. Well, they're programmed to think, no, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. So what do? They bring you down, and that's the first thing you do is let other people bring you down. So you need to stop listening to anybody unless they're doing better than you, period, right? You can get their opinion, you can hear what they're saying, but you got to stop letting it influence you unless they're doing better than you. If they're doing better than you, they probably know a little bit more, they have a little bit better attitude, they've been around the block a little bit more. If you go to a guy who's failed all his life and you tell him about an idea you have, he's going to tell you every reason in the world why it ain't going to work, right? You go to somebody who's successful and has made it to the top, and you tell them about your idea, they're going to say, that's a good idea. In fact, if I was you, I would do this and this. They're going to give you positive influences, which is what you need to make it. But when I first started out, my family, the biggest villains of all, as far as trying to get me motivated, I would tell my mom, someday I'm going to give away $10,000 checks for Christmas. And she would laugh, and the whole family would laugh, and the next year would come, and it would be Christmas time, and they would say, what about those $10,000 checks? And they would laugh at me, and I said, that's all right. I haven't made it yet, but I'm gonna. Today, I won't tell you what I'm giving away for Christmas, but it's a lot more than $10,000. Making life a game. When I wake up in the morning, going to work is a game. I look forward every day. I wake up and I get excited. I'm pulling out of my driveway. I make life a game. We all have to go to work, right? We all have to. We have to make a living. So why not go and try to make it a game rather than making it a job that you have to go to? Whatever you have to do, you make it a game. If something's a game, you have fun at. You know, there's some of the hardest games in the world. You go out and you play tennis, right? Because it's a game, you can play for 3 hours. You're sweating, you're running, you're picking up balls, right? You're having the time of your life, right? You go and work out and it's something you don't want to do. It's the most miserable job you've ever had, right? You go to work. You go to work and you think, well, I have to be to work. All of a sudden, it's the most miserable thing that you ever go to. You go somewhere that you're having fun at, that's just a game, and that's exactly, because you're picturing it as a game. So if you picture work as a game, you picture waking up as a game, you picture taking a shower as a game, you picture driving down the road as a game, everything is so much better. So if you picture life as just a game, every day is just a piece of cake. And you're going to look back every day and say, was today a good day? And if you made everything into a game, it's going to be a good day. Taking action. Everybody I know comes into my office and they say, Don, I got an idea. And I sit down and I listen to it. They tell me what the idea is, and then they want to give me the idea, and they want me to do something with it. I said, well, you know, if I was you, the first step, I would do this and this and this. And they don't do it. Then they go and they tell another friend what they're going to do, and then they go and tell another friend, hey, let me tell you about my idea, and let me tell you what I'm going to do. But they never get around to doing it. And you know what? They just talk about it, and they talk themselves right out of it. The next one is ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Everybody that I have ever talked to or anything that I have ever done in my life that's made me what I am today and got me to the success level is I've asked everybody I've known that had something. I ask questions, and I'm great at asking a lot of questions. And if you just learn, hey, you want to start your own restaurant? You go to every owner that has a great restaurant going, and you ask him if you could sit down with him and ask him a lot of questions. And don't be afraid. And I think the biggest key for anybody who's going to make it, if you look at all the successful people out there, they have done that. They've went and they've asked a lot of people a lot of questions. You'd be surprised how easy it is to get your own business going, especially if you go to somebody who's already doing it. They'll walk you right through it. They'll say, well, yeah, here's what you want to do. Then you want to do that. And then you thank them for their time. You say, if I have any more questions, can I come back to you? 99% of the time, they'll say, sure, I'd love to help you out. People that are successful in a business love to help out other people that are trying to get their own thing going. Stop thinking job. You know what? In school, ever since I was in the 5th grade, all the way through high school, and then I went to college for just a year off and on to study classes, every teacher I ever met has said, if you want to get a job, this is what you need to learn. If you want to get a job, you need to get good grades. I never, and I'm sure they teach it somewhere in school, but I have never learned in grade school or in high school, don't get a job. The real security comes from starting your own business, right? They all say if you want to get a job, so people that get out of high school, people that get out of college, they're thinking job. They don't even consider, and when I tell people, why don't you start your own business? They go, God, I never thought of it. Because you're never trained to think that way. So I can't wait until the educational system changes to where people are required to study on how to start their own business. Do you agree? Okay. You look at anybody, you look at 75% of all the people that are rich today have started their own business. 75%. So if you want to be wealthy and successful, 75% chance you better go and work for yourself, right? But in school, they just don't tell you about that. And you think, wow, getting my own business, that's hard. But it's not. It's probably the easiest thing you could ever do. And then once you get your own thing going, not only do you make more money, you don't have to have anybody tell you what to do. And if you want to take a vacation, you take a vacation. You dictate. Now, getting your own job sometimes is harder than getting your own business is sometimes harder than getting a job in the sense that you probably work more hours than anybody. You work harder than anybody. You take risk, right? But if you turn it into a game, it's the best thing that you could ever do. But the most insecure position you could have in your life is counting on somebody else to feed you week after week. Because as soon as a company no longer needs you, you're terminated. period. I mean, in the most sense. As soon as the company no longer needs you, it's, I'm sorry, but we no longer need you. You are just a temporary position in their eyes. And you've got to say, wait a second, right now I've got to think, if I get my own business going, I never have to worry about anybody telling me I'm unemployed. The next thing is writing things down. Let me tell you, when I was working at Gemco, I was 18 years old. I got promoted to be a manager, which is a manager of one little department. I flew out to Bakersfield, and I never wrote anything down. I was smarter than that. I remembered everything. And every day, the store supervisor would come in. He'd give me something to do. He'd say, Don, when you get a chance, I want you to fill this end cap or do this. I'd say, you got it. I always remembered, but he would get nervous. He would say, Don, why don't you write it down? I know it. I know it. Don't worry about it. And he would continue to stress writing things down. And I always used to see him walk around with a pad, and he'd write stuff down. And I never needed to do that because I always remembered everything, right? Well, I had no idea how much I was crippling myself by not writing stuff down. So one day he says, Don, before you leave, I want you to build this end cap display in front of the store. I said, you got it. And he told me what the product was and all that. I said, no problem. I forgot. So I went home, and I had got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So by 7 o'clock at night, I was sleeping because I had to be to work the next day. He calls me up at 7 o'clock at night, and he says, Lapre, get your butt down here and get this end cap done. And I said, oh, I forgot. I said, can I do it tomorrow? He said, no, you're not doing it tomorrow. You need to do it tonight. And I said to him, I said, do I have to get dressed up and all that? And I only had like 3 sets of clothes. I had to wash them and get them ready for the 2 days later. He said, yeah, you got to look like you're working here. You got to get down here and get this thing done. So I had to get down there. I got down there around 8 o'clock at night. I had to be all dressed up, and I was so embarrassed because he just ripped me for this, right? But he taught me write things down. From that day on, he came in the next day, and I had my pad and my pen. I said, Tim, I'm ready to go, right? From that day on, I started writing things down, and now you can't catch me without a pad. If you have bills that you're concerned about, you write them down. Then you look at them, and you can put it away somewhere. If you have worries that you're worried about, you write your worries down. And then all of a sudden, they don't look so bad if you write it down. If you have these goals, you've got to write it down. You've got to give yourself a game plan. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to get it done. The more you write your list down, the more you do, the better off you're going to be. You coordinate your time better. You organize your day better. You get things done. If you got 17 different things you got to get them done, you write them down. You coordinate it and you write it down. The next key to success, get rid of all your ugly friends. You know what I mean by that? Okay? If you got, and I said it before, if you have ugly, I mean ugly by negative, poor me, crybaby, don't believe anything in the world is going to go good for them. Those kind of friends, that's ugly to me, right? Somebody comes in my office and they have this sourpuss face on them and they just walk in and everything's ugly, right? That's an ugly person. You need to get rid of all your ugly friends. And if you replace them with people that are naturally happy, you know the ones I'm talking about. You got people that are always on a high. You got people that no matter what good happens, they always find a negative, right? If you get rid of all those people and you replace them with all these positive people, all of a sudden they're helping you keep on a high all day. So get rid of your ugly friends. Make the most out of every day. If you just make a rule to yourself that every day that you go to sleep, before you go to sleep, you're going to say, did I make the most out of my day, right? And if every day you're saying, yeah, I made the most out of my day, but there's one thing I want to do, or one thing I need to do. Why don't you go do it and get it done, and then you made the most out of your day. If you get in a habit of doing that, you look back and at the end of the year when it's New Year's Eve and everybody's having a good time and some people are saying, oh, next year is going to be a good year. You can say, yeah, next year is going to be a great year, but this year has been a great year. And all of a sudden, so you only have so many days in your life and then it's over. So if you make the most out of every single day, you're going to look back and you're going to appreciate it 100 times over. So be calculating, kind of like give yourself a report card. Every night when you go to bed, you just say, did I make the most out of today? And if you did, that's great. And you do the same thing the next day and the day after. If you learn to do for others and get a high off of it, it will motivate you to make more money and more and more. There's nothing more exciting than being able to take somebody that doesn't have anything and being able to buy them a car or a truck or just buy them a whole $200 worth of groceries for their family or something like that, if you get into a high off of helping other people, you will increase your net worth by 10 times. In my company, I give away to certain people in my company, I give away 5% of the company, which is a lot of money. Some people I give away royalties to. Why? Because it makes me feel good. They're making money. Bob Salerno, I gave 10 cents a minute just because he helped me get in the 900 business. That makes me feel good. Now I can enjoy the money I got because I'm helping a lot of other people. And you've got to get, if you're one of those tightwads, see, tight people that can't afford to lose a nickel or a dime and it bugs them to death to give anything away, it's impossible for them to make money. You know why? They can't handle losing. They can't handle. And if you're going to be successful in life, especially in business, you've got to be willing to put $1,000 out on the line and watch it just go. And then you got to try something else and watch that go until you find something that makes it. And then it all comes right back to you. But if you're tight and you're stingy and you're just not one of those people that can pay for dinner without feeling like, oh my God, I just gave away 20 bucks. If you get into that mind frame of being tight, it is impossible. You will never be able to make a lot of money. And if you do make a lot of money, you'll never be able to enjoy it, period. If you look at the rich people that are real tight with their money, they're very, very, very unhappy. You look at rich people that are very generous and give half their money away, they are very, very happy people. So the biggest key to being successful is when you make it, learn to give some of it away and feel good about it. And then when you try something, it won't hurt when you try something and it doesn't work. It's kind of a, well, that was a game, because you're used to giving it away and you're used to feeling good about it. A guy came to me with this blue lotion, that is this blue liquid, that you actually put your nail polish on. Then you take this stuff and you put it on just like nail polish, and in just a few seconds it dries as hard as a rock, and it keeps your nails from breaking. It's just incredible, and I don't know if we're going to do a commercial on that or not, but right now it looks like a neat product. I checked into it. We went to the store and said, hey, let's see if there's anything else out there. We went to a few stores and we found some solution that women use after they polish their nails that helps their nail polish dry, and it looks like it's almost the same thing. So I don't know if we're going to do anything with that or not, but this gentleman that brought me this solution says it's 10 times better than anything on the market. So sooner or later you may see out there some magical solution that, not for you men, but for the women that want to polish your nails. You've seen women go like this and don't touch me and they're dry. Now there's a solution that you put on your nails and instantly it's dry and it's a lot harder than most. There's a tanning lotion that a gentleman brought to me and he said, Don, and I said this a year ago, I said, if somebody can come out with a tanning product that gives you a real tan, that person is going to make millions of dollars. So a gentleman that bought one of the Making Money packages sent me a letter, and he owns a cosmetic company. And he has a tanning solution that he put together that we were talking about that actually gives you a real tan. And it takes about the same time to wear off as a regular tan. So I tried it, and we both agree that it is absolutely dynamite. We've given it to some of the people that work for me, and they tried it, and they liked it. So we put together 2 commercials that we tried. The commercials were not successful, but I want you to take a look at the commercials that we put together for this tanning lotion.
There's a new light shining on the world of tanning.
Island Attitude.
You can have a rich, dark tan without ever having to go in the sun again. Introducing Island Attitude, the incredible new self-tanning and moisturizing system made to fit today's busy lifestyle. Island Attitude goes on evenly and is easy to use. Just rub it in once a day till you're as tan as you want to be. And then keep that great tan by reapplying the lotion a couple of times a week. Try Island Attitude for 30 days, and if you're not completely satisfied, return the unused portion for a complete refund. Island Attitude is not available anywhere else in the world, so order now.
To receive your bottle of Island Attitude for just $14.95, Have your credit card ready and call the toll-free number on your screen. You can have a beautiful, healthy tan all year round.
Let your attitude shine.
Exposure to the sun now threatens skin more than ever
Health
before.
officials warn of the serious consequences.
Exposure to the sun is dangerous. So how do we safely become bronze and beautiful? Introducing Island Attitude, the latest revolution in sunless tanning. Sun worshippers, listen up. It's time for an attitude adjustment.
I've got an attitude.
Yeah, an Island Attitude. Island Attitude transports you to a tropical paradise, giving you the tan you want now without the sun's harmful rays.
I've tried the others and paid the price. But now, I've got an Island Attitude.
Call now for sunless tanning. All natural, fast-working Island Attitude for only $12.95. We're so sure you'll love Island Attitude, there's a complete money-back guarantee. Call now for quick express delivery and get an Island Attitude.
The next thing is a gentleman named Harvey Schmidt, a good friend of mine, called me up. He was a gentleman that saw the television show. Harvey Schmidt has turned a few $1,000s into millions playing the commodities market, in the stocks. And I don't know anything about the stock market. I don't know anything about the commodities market. But I talked to Harvey Schmidt, and together he told me that he would like to develop a game that teaches people how to play on paper, a game where you can actually take the stock market, learn it, but you can play with $1,000 on paper and learn from a guy who took a few $1,000s and turned it into millions, and you can and he's going to show you step by step how he's done it. Well, I flew out to his house in Beverly Hills, and he showed me what he does every day, and it's absolutely incredible. So now we're putting together what's called the stock market game, which actually teaches people how to take money on paper so you don't risk a dime. You can actually play it on paper for about 3 months, or you can do it in 3 weeks, or you can do it over a week, depending on how quick you want to learn. And then you can see yourself take $1,000, maybe turn it into $17,000, but more importantly, all of a sudden you'll know if you're making money or not, right? If you learn this game and you turn 2,000 into 20,000, and you've been doing it, and it just so happens to be the exact way you would actually play the game in real life, then what are you going to do? You're going to say, it's time for me to go play the commodities market the real way, which is in real life. So we designed a game that we're still putting together that actually teaches people how to play the commodities market and the futures market and the stock market on paper, and then prove to themselves they can make money exactly the way you would do it in real life. And then if you make a ton of money, boom. So pretty soon you'll be seeing the stock market game come out, and I think it's going to be dynamite. Anybody want to learn from a guy who's made millions exactly the way he does it every day? So I'm working on that. The next thing is we decided, a gentleman came up to me and he wanted to do a 5.5-minute workout. I said, that's about as much time as I got in the morning. He says, Don, depending on which part of the body you have trouble with, if it's your gut and you're trying to get a nice stomach, he has a 5.5-minute workout that he wants to put together, which means all you have to commit to is 5.5 minutes a day to get some kind of improvement on that particular area of your body. So I'm working on that. Another thing, an idea I came up with, I thought, I told you guys about the way I feel about going to work and getting a job and working all through school to get a JOB. Well, I thought some of these people in school, they spend their whole life going to college for 5 years to get a license to do a particular job. Then they get into that field, and guess what? They find out they hate it, right? So I thought, why don't we come up with a company called Career for a Week? Listen to this. For $125, a parent could pay for their kid to spend a week with a doctor, a lawyer, a technician, a plumber, whatever it is, but actually live it and breathe it for a week. And then that kid may get a whole different view of what it's like to be a neurosurgeon or what it's like to be an attorney. Some people get a misconception that oh, a dentist is a great job, and da-da. And then they actually do it, and they go, wow, this is not for me. But rather than spending 5 years, or how would you feel to spend 6 years, 5 years of your life getting a degree and finding out after you did all this, that's something that you hate to do, right? So we are trying to work to get together a company called Career for a Week, and we're going to give these students, before they go make this lifetime commitment to a job that they may not like, they're going to actually get to live and breathe it with that particular person for a week. And I'm just going to go over one more thing that someday I'm going to master, and I'm going to come out with the most dynamite dating service. But this is the last thing. I'm working on a consignment warehouse idea of where I buy stuff and I sell it, but I let people put their stuff in my location. You've seen consignment stores out there. I'm working on that right now, but I want to open up a dating service. If you look at all the people in this world that are single and unhappy or looking for somebody, you look at all the marriages that are out there, half of them end up in a divorce. The other half, how many of those are together but they're still unhappy? There's got to be a machine that allows you to be connected with the right person. And sooner or later, I'm going to put together, I'm working on it right now, a dating service that actually is designed where everybody would want to join. And it's a great way to where you can find that perfect person, because there's no better feeling in the world than getting a high off of your first date with somebody that you're really attracted to, and that nervousness of going out on your first. Isn't it the greatest feeling in the world? And so many people don't get that. And then when they finally meet somebody that almost fits what they want, what do? They settle for that person. Why? Because it took 18 years trying to find that person. You certainly don't want to wait another 18 years for Miss Right to come along. So I think there's got to be a better way for people to get together. And there's some dating services out there, but I want to develop a dating service that's bigger and better than anything out there. So I'm working on that, and someday you may see it. Besides running my own business and keeping the 900 business going for those people that want to get in it, and keeping everything I got going, plus working on all of these, I came up with the best idea for the biggest company that will be around that allows all of you and people throughout the United States to come to work for Don Lapre, come to work for this new division, and make more money, you at home, and you guys could make more money than you've ever made in your life working with me as a team player in something that I call IPS, the Incredible Product Store. You guys want to hear about it? Yeah. Let me tell you. Every company needs one thing to make sure that they do well. One thing is the biggest key to most businesses, and that's advertising, right? If somebody gave you a full page in the Wall Street Journal and said, it's yours, we'll just use it for whatever you want, you could start a business that would be an empire just because you have this massive way to advertise for free, right? So that's not what it's all about, but that gives you an idea of how powerful advertising can be if you could create something that works for everybody. So if you understand that every business out there needs a way to advertise, and we all advertise. If you're a business, you advertise. My Making Money show is really an advertisement out there. Any dentist needs to advertise, right? Any company that has a catalog, they need to get their catalog out in the front of the people. Anybody with a new product or service, they need to advertise. Any company that's a store, they need to advertise to let people know that they're there. Just about any company, any business, anybody in the world that wants to start a business, guess what he has to do? He has to advertise, and he has to advertise smart so he doesn't spend more on advertising than he makes on the back end, right? So what if there was a way that I created that I could sell you a place to advertise that you could get possibly incredible success? Let me give you an example. Okay, let me just map something out. Let's pretend that this is a store, okay? This is a mall, and there's people walking back and forth, okay? Okay, you're looking at it from the camera looking down at the mall. People see the inside, and inside this mall, there's a whole bunch of showcases, You say, okay, what's a showcase? Picture a showcase being 3 feet wide, okay, from the floor to the ceiling, and picture there being a big poster in the front of it, right, featuring a particular product. Let's say there was a guy with a stun gun, and he has it, and he's been trying to market it through newspapers throughout the country, or through magazines, or whatever. Wouldn't it be great if there was a way that he could market his stun gun in retail stores all over the country? Okay, wouldn't that be great? Okay, what if he's been trying to get his stun gun into stores all over the country and it's just hard to do? He needs a way to get in front of shoppers in retail malls. Well, what if he could rent this showcase, right, and for the cost of maybe $300 a month, which, by the way, is the cost of a 3-line ad in some newspapers. For $300 a month, what if I rented him this showcase and I supplied to him a big poster which is illuminated or lit up from the back showing this stun gun zapping somebody, right? People walk by and they see this showcase and they say, wow, the stun gun, wow, I ought to get one. Now, what if this showcase had shelves underneath it to where I allowed this gentleman who's trying to sell a stun gun to put brochures? So you're walking in the mall, right? You walk in and you see this stun gun being advertised on this showcase. You say, wow, I think I'm going to get one of those. So you take a brochure with you and you can take it home. Now he has an outlet. He has a way to advertise his stun gun. What if I made it a little more exciting? What if within this store, every 5 feet, there was a telephone, right? Now, somebody walks up and they see this stun gun, right? And they see this brochure and they look it up and they go, I'm excited about it. I'm going to call right now. They can go right over to the phone while they're excited, right? And they can get on the phone and they can call this company about the stun gun. Maybe the guy could take their order right over the phone. What if, though, he wasn't able to get a merchant account, which means what if he wasn't able to take their credit card, their Visa, their MasterCard, American Express, or Discover? Let me make it a little bit better. Now, what if this showcase had a little machine on it right here? Somebody looks at it and they go, wow, I like this. $29.95 or $49.95. What if there was a little machine right on the showcase that allowed a guy to take out his credit card, just slide his card through, type in his name, and it was shipped right to him? An instant sale. What if for $300 a month or whatever amount, you automatically got a merchant machine, you automatically got this service, and we wired your money to you every time you made a sale? Would that be exciting? Yeah. Take a company that's a catalog company. For the cost of $300 a month, the most they can mail out is 600 catalogs. Let's say you're a swimsuit company, and I won't mention any particular names, but you either mail out to a bunch of people that may not even be interested, or for $300 a month, you can have a showcase, and people walk by and they see a girl in a swimsuit, right? And they see these catalogs below, and they go, ooh, here's a woman shopper wanting to get some swimsuits. She can take a catalog and leave. So we call it the Incredible Product Store, where people can actually walk in and look at incredible products or services. Every 3 feet will be a showcase with a big poster, right? And you get a merchant machine with it. So you automatically, if you're a guy that's trying to sell a manual in the newspaper, let's say you wrote a little manual on how to do the stock market. You learned about it. You wrote your own little thing on how to play the stock market. You could rent this display, and for $39.95, if that's what you wanted to charge, you could sell your manual. Well, we'll take your brochure. We'll do this incredible poster, right, maybe with Wall Street behind, right? And people walk by and they'll go, oh, my God, here's a neat video or a neat manual on how to play the stock market. If you're excited right then, they can take out their credit card, swipe it through the machine, right? And you just made money. For $300 a month, how many sales do you need to make a profit? Here's what the exciting part is. You can be a salesperson showing people how they can rent space in the Incredible Product Store. Guess what? The average lease between the merchant and merchant machine and the lease space will be about $2,500. You make $250 every time you get somebody to sign up a lease and rent space. That's your job. But guess what I'm going to give you? I'm going to give you a video that's going to show the entire store, show the entire way you rent space, and the only thing you have to do is say to somebody who's currently marketing their own thing at the swap meets, or they're currently advertising in any newspaper, you call them up and you go, how come you're not in the Incredible Product Store, in retail? They'll say, what? I'd love to be in retail. You say, let me send you a video. They watch the video, or you go to their house, they watch the video, and they go, I'll do it. Guess what? You make $250 just like that. But guess what? They go in one of these stores, and what if they're doing good? What if they're doing really good? Guess what they're going to do? They're going to call us up, and they're going to say, I want to go in 5 more stores. We're going to say, fine. Guess what? You just made yourself $1,250 more because you get paid each and every time that person signs up in another store. But guess what? 6 months later, not only does he want to get in more stores, he needs to renew. Guess what? You get paid again every 6 months from that one client, right? We are going to have 1,000 stores around the country. Do you know what that could mean? Do you imagine if you get a guy who says, I'm doing so good, he just grows to be in 1,000 stores? Do you know how much money you're going to make? $250,000 a year off of one guy? Is that exciting? So that's what we're going to be doing as far as the Incredible Product Store. So if you guys decide that you want to come to work for the Incredible Product Store and be one of our national salespeople, the money that you guys can make is absolutely phenomenal. Let me explain what you're going to get. It's going to be the easiest job you're ever going to do. We're going to give you videos. So all you have to do is let somebody watch it, and that automatically sells them. They're going to see the Incredible Product Store. They're going to see the showcase. They're going to see the merchant machine. They're going to see what they get. It's going to tell them how much it's going to cost. The only thing you have to do is write up the contract after they see the video. So it can't get any easier. I'm going to supply you with videos, a training manual. I'm going to give you brochures with the contracts. I'm going to show you how to work it out. If you want to come to work for the Incredible Product Store, call the number that's on the screen. Anybody that's watching this video right now, if you want to make more money than you ever have and you want to work with me directly in the Incredible Product Store, call the number, and you guys, and it'll be a voicemail that you can leave your name and your phone number, and a representative will call you back, and we'll get you set up as an employee of the Incredible Product Store. The money that you guys can make is absolutely incredible. But I want to tell you, you're thinking, well, who would want to rent space in the Incredible Product Store? Anybody who's currently advertising a product or a service is going to want to come into our store. Any guy who has a product or a service, anybody who has a product or a service and they're trying to sell it and they can't get themselves into retail, or even if they are in retail right now and they're trying to sell it themselves, anybody who has a product or service. To give you an example, there are 2 million patents filed every year. 2 million. For every person who files a patent, there's probably 10 or 20 people that have a product that they put together that they haven't patented. Is that a lot of people? Okay. Catalog companies. Any company that wants to get their catalog. For example, Sharper Image has a catalog that they send to you. Real neat store with all this stuff. They have stores all over the place, but if they wanted to get their catalog out to more people, they could actually rent a space, right? They could put their catalogs underneath, and every shopper that comes in says, hey, I'm going to take a catalog. It's a great outlet for any catalog company to put their catalog and to get it distributed at a cheap price. To go on, any company, anybody who's currently marketing a unique service, if you want to get your service out to people, you've got to advertise. Well, you can either put a 3-line ad in a newspaper for the cost of maybe $300 a month, or you can rent a full showcase with a merchant machine, so it's an instant sale, right? If you put a little 1/4-inch page ad in a newspaper trying to sell something, if that person's excited, guess what they have to do? They have to mail in a check, right? They have to make a phone call. If you're not there to, or if you can't take a credit card, because if you're doing phone sales, it's very difficult to get a credit card, merchant account. In other words, it's very difficult for you to take credit cards over the phone and be able to process it through your checking account. Not with the Incredible Product Store. Now, if people are excited, they take out their credit card. It's an instant sale. You get them why the people are excited about it, not, a week later after they forgot about it, right? Do you know what a one-page ad costs in one of these national magazines? $8,000 to $20,000, right? Do you know that some of the national companies like Chevrolet and GM, they'll take up a full-page ad just to show their new truck, right? Well, now we can go to them and say, hey, you can be in 30 of our stores for the same cost, right? And you can have a big brochure, a big poster-size brochure if you want, and everybody that comes in can actually take something, take a brochure with them, and it's a great way for national companies to keep their face out in the public. And I could go on and on. Anybody who's currently selling something in the newspapers or magazines around the entire country, you're going to call them up and say, how come you're not in retail? They're going to say, oh, I'd love to be. How do I get in? And you're going to show them how, right? Anybody who's selling something right now through the newspaper in their local area, and people call them up and say, can I order my credit card? Can I order by credit card? Most of them have to say, well, no, I can only take check or money order, right? Well, now they'll be able to say, well, sure, I can take your credit card if you just drive right down to the local mall in the Incredible Product Store. We have a showcase. What does that do? It's instant credibility, too, because they're saying, wow, you're in the newspaper, but you're also at a retail mall. I can trust you because you're more visible out there in the public eye. Instant credibility. I could go on and on and on. But you guys, if you want to do this and you want to be a salesperson, telling somebody, hey, you know, you're selling these swing sets, these self-designed swing sets on the side of the road. Everybody drives by and these real neat kids swing sets are out there. You say, how come you don't have this in retail? The guy's going to say, oh, I would love to. How do I do it? You're going to show him the video. He's going to go, oh, my God, I'd love to put this in retail. And it's an instant sale for him every time somebody comes in the mall. Do you know how many neat companies go out of business because nobody knows they exist? And there's no way to market them? Take a dentist, for example. They're businessmen, just like you or I, except they went to school for 12 years to get their degree, right? Now they get their own practice. Guess what they have to do? They have to advertise to let people know. Now you can tell the dentist, you know, you could do a little brochure that says free teeth cleaning, right? And you could put your face right in the mall, which gives instant credibility and exposure, and all these people could be picking up these brochures saying, hey, I'm going to go get my teeth cleaned from this guy right down the street. Otherwise, no one would know that they were there. So I could keep going and going and going, and I won't, but if that gives you an idea. But the key is, if you get a guy with a product, right, he has this little gadget that he designed himself, you call him up, he gets excited, he goes into one of our Incredible Product stores, and he does good, guess what? You're rich because he's going to want to go in 5, and then 10 stores, and then 20 stores, and we'll allow his business to grow. Guess what else we do? We ship if you want us to ship. So here's a guy with a product. He said, well, I don't want to be in charge of shipping or anything. No problem. We'll ship for you, right? Everything's taken away from him where he doesn't have to do very much at all except advertise by renting out the showcase space. But if you guys think that's about as good as it can get, guess what? It gets better. You know how many infomercials and how many products are sold on TV every single week that they put the commercial on TV and guess what? It doesn't do good, so they have to pull it off. Why? Not because their product is bad, not because the cost of the product is bad, because the airtime is too expensive, or they don't know how to get on, or they don't know how to pay the right rate. Well, guess what? Every 5th unit is not going to have a poster. It's going to have a video machine in it. So now you have a guy, anybody in the world that has a product that they try to sell on TV, you call them up, and we'll show you how to get in touch with those kind of people. And you say, hey, you had a commercial and it didn't work on TV, but it's a great product, and I know you're sitting with a ton of it sitting in some warehouse. The guy's scratching his head saying, how am I going to get rid of this stuff, right? You say, how would you like your commercial to run all day long in a 3-foot showcase, right? Right? And now these people look at this commercial and they go, wow. And you've seen some of the neat commercials out there with all these little gadgets and whatnot. And you say, God, if that commercial ever comes on TV again, I'm going to get it. But it never does, and you never see, right? So now you come up and you go to this 5th unit and it has a little TV screen and you're watching it and you go, I want to get one of those. Well, guess what? You don't have to pick up the phone. You take out your credit card, you can slide it right through, and you instantly get it shipped to you. Is that exciting? Yeah. There are thousands of commercials that are out there that people are now sitting with all this product, and they need to get it marketed. And now we're going to give them a vehicle to get into every shopping mall in the country. Pretty soon, we're going to try to go into every shopping mall we can get into. Now, do you think it's going to be hard for you to sell the concept of easiest thing that you will ever do, and the money that you guys are going to make is going to be astronomical? We're getting to the end of the video, and I just want to tell you, to anybody out there, if you have a product or you have a service, or if you know of a friend or a relative that has a product or a service, and you've been trying to find a way to market it nationally and get it out there, now's the time to do it. If you call the number, a representative will then call you back and show you how to get your product or your service into the incredible product store. You can make more money than you ever dreamed of. And I'm looking for a select amount of people, just the people that enjoy sales and would love to be a national sales representative for the incredible product store. If you want to make more money than you ever dreamed of, and you can be an actual national sales rep representing the incredible product store, call the number. A representative will call you back. We'll get you set up with your training manual, your videos, your brochure, and you can start making a ton of money, and you can do it part-time. So if you have a job, you can do this part-time until you're making more money than your regular job would ever think of paying you. I'm Don Lapre. Get excited to make a lot of money, and I look forward to hearing from you.